Jesus has been teaching the people that God's kingdom is not just held within the temple. It's not just a place you go. It's not just rituals you do that are prescribed. And so, in a way, it's communicating the same thing as if you were going to the temple and you were going to enter the holiest of holies. You would have your hands washed and your feet washed. And now Jesus is carrying the holy with him. He is the source of what makes things holy. And so their feet need to be cleaned. It's not just an ordinary meal with an ordinary friend. But think about how you might react if your mentor, your boss, your grandparents, your whoever it is you look up to, that you enjoy doing things for and learning from, comes to you and says, I'm going to wash your feet. Most of us are pretty uncomfortable. Our feet make us feel vulnerable. Sometimes we think they're dirty or they're stinky or what have you. And Jesus is saying, I want to be in relationship with all of you. Every stinky part of you. Jesus was showing us a new way. And he said in this passage that we need to do it as well. So I sometimes think we've missed the mark by not having washing of the feet as one of our sacramental actions, so that we weren't so afraid of it. God calls us to be in relationship with other people, to be open to connecting with all parts of their lives, to recognize and see every person with the vision of Jesus. I listened about a story about a church in Little Rock, Mercy Community Church. And they do a lot of work with people who are home unhoused. And so every so often they have a meal where the unhoused and the housed gather together. And it is a core value of how they do it that those who do not have housing are the ones that prepare the food. And everybody eats together at the same table. And it usually makes housed people really uncomfortable, because some of us would be okay, not totally comfortable, okay, washing the feet of someone else because we're serving. And there's a certain sense of empowerment when you are the one offering the care. But Jesus is telling his disciples as well that sometimes you have to be the recipient. Sometimes you have to open up all your vulnerabilities and acknowledge you don't have everything under control. You don't have a perfect life. You do have your own questions and bumpy feet, stinkiness. During this time of Lent, I want to add to the things that you consider. Where would you prefer that Jesus didn't even touch your life, your feet, because you are embarrassed or ashamed? Don't like looking at that part of yourself, even yourself. What will it take for you to open up and be vulnerable and give this part of you to God so it can be cleansed, made whole, accepted? And then, the more we can do those sorts of things, handing over to God whatever it is that needs forgiveness or cleaning or being left behind. Then our feet, then our very selves can do what we are meant to do as baptized children of God. We can walk, we can follow in God's ways. We can follow in the steps of Jesus. We can go where God calls us and be in places where we can give and receive God's love with other people. Remembering that sometimes we are the ones that need to reach out and provide for. That's not so hard. Sometimes we need to take a step back and wait and let God serve us through someone else for their well-being as well as ours.